Yep.
Yeah, man.
Hey, sorry about that. I had to go in the app and turn on the microphone.
Cool.
So what's going on?
After all these years, you know, and I go, hello, hello, and I can't hear you. And I have to put like headphones in and fuck about. All I have to do is press the speaker button.
Oh, yeah.
There you go, guys. A bit of tech help for you all.
Right.
You press, there's only 3 buttons.
So what's going on?
Not much. Not much. Yeah, pretty sad life at the moment. I haven't really been out much, but you know, pretty boring. What about you?
Just a lot of working. My job.
So you waiting for a delivery?
Huh?
You waiting for a delivery?
Yeah.
How does it work?
What do you mean, how does it work?
Well, like, what do you get? Like a menu, like a choice? Or
No.
Just... You don't.
There's no choices.
There's no choices.
No.
Do they like tell you what it is, like what kind of strain it is? And, like,
I don't care about that.
You don't care?
No.
It doesn't come up in a conversation when you order it.
No.
You don't like shit, bro. Like we're really into it in the UK, like all the different strain names.
I mean,
stuff, you know?
I have friends that are, but I don't know. I just
especially you hear a new name, you're like, yeah.
I've just never been one to care too much about it. I mean, even
it's really picked up in the last like 2 years. It's changed.
Even when I sold it, I would never care too much. I mean, I would know what I had, but you know.
How many years ago was that though?
When I was selling it, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, I can understand that 5 years ago, but like ever since America legalized, it's just got insane with all the different strains.
Yeah. Well, actually,
see,
that's the thing. If I'm getting it from one of my friends out of state, like when I have a friend who his daughter lives in Maine and he lives out in Colorado, and both of them are legal. So when he's passing through the area, I'll pick up in bulk from him if I can, and then I'll know what I have because he'll write it on the bag. But other than that, I don't pay too much mind to it.
Did you have any like particular favorites?
No, I don't memorize it or pay that much.
How much does it cost out there?
I honestly, I don't even know. I just say amount.
Yeah.
I just say dollar amounts. I have this much, and that's that.
Okay, yeah, I love it, as you know.
I'm sort of the mindset, like even right now, I'm rebuilding the things for my vaporizers, and it's like I don't want my habits to become hobbies. You know what I mean? Like that's sort of how I see it, where it's like if I paid too much mind to it, I feel like then it would kind of be a problem. But you know, to lead this into some interesting news stuff, I thought it was interesting. You know, I assume the topic of the Joe Rogan Alex Jones podcast is going to come up.
Oh, have you tried DMT?
No, I haven't, but I was going to say, I was very surprised that Joe Rogan conceded to Alex Jones that he thinks marijuana is causing schizophrenia in people, and, you know, he didn't, he said some people, but, yeah, because he said it's been, you know, souped up, basically, and some people can't handle it. And that's what's going on.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's so, I mean, since 2012 it got really strong and then it got hit again. But yeah.
Well, and part of that, I think, you know, they, what's his name, was dumping tons of money into it at one point. Soros.
I thought Gates wasn't he?
Probably.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing George Soros was getting into it. Like investing into it and stuff.
Well, we got the first legal medical weed. I think you get an import license and you can buy an ounce. The ounce cost for a patient $700.
Wow. Well, you know,
insane.
That actually reminds me. I saw an article that
the $700 an ounce.
That sales in California, you know, where it is like legal and they have recreational and all of that, are actually down because it's like the government is charging so much in taxes that people aren't even using these shops anymore.
Yeah, I heard that in Canada that people are going back to the old black market way of things.
Yeah.
Which is really good. It's good. You just need government out the fucking way of it.
Yeah. I mean, that was always my position on it. Was just have the government say we're not going to fuck with it. But you know,
I saw some of the first UK weed. Like, this weed is like sacred because it's the first medical import. And I just looked at the label. Like, I haven't smoked it or actually like seen it physically, but on the label it's got stuff like the pesticides they used. It's like, what? And then it's got like they have to radiate it, so they radiate it to like get rid of bugs. It's got like the radiation nonsense on there. It's like, what did you do to it?
Actually, you know, in the States, it's interesting that I don't know what other things they do this with, but almonds is one of the things where in order for almonds to be sold in the U.S., they have to be radiated.
Dude, like, when the black market was so bad, like about a decade ago, like having mites on it wasn't really the end of the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I actually
dust them off.
I have a friend.
Rather for that than a pesticide. A couple of pests.
I have a friend who was trying to sell THC cartridges for like vaporizers and stuff.
Nice.
And well, part of it though is he was trying to unload them because the company they came from, I guess, was using some sort of weird pesticide or something and got in trouble for it. So they're like, you know, kind of like defective in a way. So he's trying to unload them because he's got a bunch of them, but you know, you're going to be smoking some sort of weird pesticide when you
the big strain in the UK at the moment used to be Amnesia Haze, used to be like England's house weed, but now we get Starr Dog. It's probably like a big one at the moment, and obviously the cheese, which everyone hates.
What, blue cheese?
Don't like cheese, man. Yeah, don't like. That's the only weed I don't like. It's cheese. I just don't like that taste. I don't like it on my throat, and it gives me a headache in a lot of ways.
You know, I was surprised. I smoked before bed last night, and I mean, that was all I really did substance-wise, but I woke up, I mean, I'm glad you woke up late, because I woke up feeling like I had the worst hangover ever, and like, I don't know if it was just dehydration or what, but my friend I had smoked with last night said he had the same feeling, so I don't know what it was, but I was not feeling great this morning.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Especially to get a hangover effect.
Yeah. But yeah, did you see the video I did this morning?
No, I'm going to check it out with the DMT.
It was talking about...
Have you tried DMT, Jamie?
No, I haven't.
No, you should try it. Some DMT.
I don't know.
It's put me off it. Like it's got me on the DMT bandwagon. Like, I ended up reading about it and just watching videos on DMT. And I started to get really stoned. And I was like, I'm going to try the DMT. And then I woke up this morning going, what the fuck are you thinking, dude? You're going to try the DMT? Yeah, it just seems to be like, I'm surprised Alex is promoting it. He was promoting it, wasn't he?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? Yeah, I think DMT is going to go through the roof. The numbers, everyone's going to be trying it now.
I mean, he's talking about, you know, I don't think he was like endorsing it. He was just saying, you know, that the Nazis were using drugs to contact entities and stuff. And now that'll bring up the thing I did in my video about Styx Hexenhammer. You know, that guy, I'll tell you what, and this has always been my criticism of him.
Did he have a shirt on?
Yes, he had a shirt on. But he's going on and he's like, you know, the thing about Alex Jones is I don't believe... Big Chris, what up? Just saw you in the chat. He's talking about how Alex Jones is, you know, part performance and how he, you know, puts on this sort of show when he does his stuff, which a lot of people do that. And he lists off Gavin McInnes, Crowder. Like, yes, people are trying to be entertaining while presenting information. that doesn't mean that, he's bullshitting you. But then he goes and says, do I think Alex Jones really thinks that, there's intergalactic aliens trying to enslave humanity? No, I don't think he really thinks that. And it's like, Alex Jones said repeatedly during that podcast, I don't think this. This is what this is what they think. This is what they say they're doing. And I said in this video, Styx always does this. Whenever it's a topic of the occult, whether it's the occult stuff concerning Podesta and Pizzagate, he dismisses it. When it's Alex Jones talking about this stuff, he dismisses it. And he acts as if there's nothing to this channeling entities thing. And it's like, Led Zeppelin did this for writing songs. Nikola Tesla said he was channeling entities to come up with information for inventions. The Nazis said they're doing. I've done it. Like, yeah,
You've done it.
I've done automatic writing and stuff like that. I said in the video, I'm going to do a thing on some of my old songs. I have a song that I didn't even write down on paper. I just turned on the...
What do you mean?
I just, I had to do the lyrics. I just stood in front of the microphone and it just came out. And when you play it backwards in the chorus, clear as day, you play it backwards, it says, I am Satan, I am Satan, I am the one who started this, I'm here to save the music. I mean, it's like the evilest of... my friends won't record my vocal sessions because it used to freak them out. Because they would say, you're not just singing backwards, your whole body is moving backwards. Like, I would become possessed. I'm telling you, my friends of mine won't record me doing vocal sessions because they can tell something comes over me and I'm just the vehicle. I know this black magic occult shit way too well to watch some schmuck like Styx Hexenhammer poo-poo and dismiss it. And I don't like getting into that because I feel like it, I don't want this bullshit where people are looking at me like I'm some sort of sketchy figure, but it's like at some point you need someone who knows it to call it out. Yeah, like I don't feel like having, shit like that going around, but it's like I know more than I let on about some of these topics, and I don't like, I'm not the one out here saying I'm the expert. I don't have, Jamie Starr 666, sickle, hexen, whatever. I mean, come on. It's bullshit. So I called out Styx Hexenhammer that either he's a gatekeeper to the occult or he's an idiot. And that's all there is to it.
I think the DMT thing does explain a lot to me because I've been doing a lot of occult research recently, getting in deep. The DMT kind of revolution and the revolution of Aleister Crowley and pop culture kind of all going at the same time.
Yeah,
they kind of go hand in hand, and that's why so many people are maybe believing in magic. It's because they are doing these DMT experiences, these psychedelic experiences, and that's how they're these entities are coming about. I still don't. I'm not sold on ritual magic does get you in contact with demons and so forth. I don't know if I'm convinced. I think they're sick fucks.
I think it's sort of... They said in the podcast that Alex Jones had said, it's if someone's doing drugs, then, you're not going to have the same hallucination as someone else. But when multiple people are having the same experience... It's more like you've opened a gateway and you're all just seeing what's on the other side. And
I don't know how you could retell the experience though.
That's the thing. Even Joe Rogan and Eddie Bravo both had issues with
But then again, when I saw some of these paintings of the machine elves, the psychedelic ones, they are I started tripping looking at them, and you think, wow. Some of these artists do really actually capture it very well.
Yeah.
And the way the elves play games with you, they want you to look at their beauty and look at all the changes in their bodies, but if you concentrate too much, they get a little bit angry.
Well, the thing I think is interesting is, as far as where I live, and maybe it could just be because I'm in New York and, New York operates very different. I mean, I'm sure it's probably comparative to London. London probably operates a little differently than elsewhere in England. It's probably more fast paced and just there's the term a New York minute basically, but psychedelics as far as drugs go are rather niche. Like, it's in order to find them, you got to get in touch with like ravers and
Right, yeah.
Your average drug dealer doesn't have them. Like coke, dope, weed, that stuff you could find, maybe even some MDMA, but as far as like DMT, acid, or stuff
It
like
almost
that,
becomes like Masonic in a way, like you got to climb up the ladder as well.
yeah,
Get the good stuff at good prices, right?
yeah. I mean,
And yes, you just happen to be mates with somebody.
well, that's the thing. Back when I used to be able to get that stuff, I had friends that would go to raves just because, I mean, they were describing these raves, not that they wouldn't have fun at the show, but they were describing it like a drug bazaar, basically. Like, it was just all people going there to meet dealers and to buy different shit.
Yeah, it's like weird. Like down here, there's a private club that like contacted me, and I was like, "Oh, it sounds like you're by a really good farm." And I was like, "Yeah, I am. I'm quite friendly with them." And they're going, "Oh, can you hook us up? Because these are the prices we're paying. It's like £100 a quarter, something like that." I was going, "Oh, I pay £60 a quarter on just everything. So it doesn't matter what it is. It's just always 60. So I'll do it for you for like 75." They're like, fuck you, why can't you do it for like 65? Like, fuck off. No,
Yeah, that's crazy, especially if they said they were paying
Like,
100
what?
for it. Like,
I'm just being straight with you, like what I'm paying for it, and I think 15 quid a go. It's pretty good for me.
yeah,
You save 25 quid. And that's like the minimum you're paying. Like, yeah, it's £60 across the board. Like, it doesn't matter like how top shelf it is. It's just £60. We don't do any of these like changing the price because it's got some other name. It all comes out the same farm. But yeah, the DMT craze, man.
I mean, it's, that's one of those things that's like, I've never heard of anyone selling it. Like, the only thing I've heard of is I've heard of Brett once trying it with a friend, and that's it. Other than that, it's not around my area that I know of.
Well, I think in California they'll go to those retreats.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah,
Again,
that's...
high class. Good way, yeah. Yeah, the Alex Jones thing was a bit shit.
I don't know. I thought it was a really good podcast. I mean, as far as him saying what he wanted to say and revealing, like, the truth about things. Now, the one thing I thought was very interesting was when they showed the patent for the VR headset. I mean, it looks just like the $20 one I own that I can pop my phone into. The VR headset that they had the patent of from the 1953 or whatever.
Did you see Truth Stream Media did that piece on that film Brainstorming?
Yeah, I did, actually.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, man. I love Truth Stream Media so much. It's the coolest YouTube channel.
Yeah. Although I think I couldn't find In the Minds of Men. Was that taken down?
Click on the page.
Oh, maybe I was just...
Had quite a few million views, which is really good for them. I don't
Yeah.
know, a couple of million they got off that.
Maybe I just was looking past it or something.
I see Martina was on InfoWars as well.
The interview with Faith Goldie?
No, Martina was on it, wasn't she?
I think so, but I saw a segment...
Yeah, she was. I saw her on
Yeah,
it.
but I saw a segment where she was there with Faith Goldie. But, I mean, it could have been part of a longer interview. Yeah, well, they shut down her bank account.
I'm not surprised. She's loaded now, isn't she?
I don't know. I don't think so.
She looks loaded. I actually like have a little troll.
No.
Yeah, good for her, man.
As far as I know, I mean, she's got projects going, but I don't know how, unless she has investments or something, I don't know how she would be loaded. I do want to check out those comics that she's got.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It looks pretty cool. And the tarot cards and shit. It does look fucking cool. I'm quite jealous, but happy at the same time. Like, it's so fucking cool.
I mean, I think, the thing that I love about her, and she said it on the part of the interview I saw where, Alex Jones asked her what's next, and she said, we need to create our culture. Like, just pointing to these people and saying they suck is one thing. You can complain all day long about the propaganda on Netflix and all that, but what do we have to replace it? And that's what, us creative types who are more, on the side of liberty and freedom and everything like that, like, we need to create a culture for ourselves. And
Yeah, that's
that's
what I really wanted to start doing. Like I went,
I mean,
I
that's
know it's not
part
that
of why I've
relevant,
always
but
loved Vox Day, because he
like there's
does it
loads of
too.
yeah. Like Fox actually gave me the idea that I should just be concentrating on guitar for the time being, because it's something you're really good at. So I thought, oh, there must be like just jam nights, even if it's just a church, just anywhere to just find any musician. I don't care what style it is. I don't care. And there's nothing. Like even there's this blues bar, and you check that place out. It's like, oh, do you do a jam night? It's like, no. It's like, what the fuck,
That
man?
sucks. I mean,
Come
I'm
on.
I'm lucky that I live in a very artsy area with being in the Hudson Valley.
There's one arts cafe that did do that kind of thing, but it just had all these posters with like refugees welcome and all this
Uh,
stuff, and it's like, Paul not welcome.
that's funny.
uh, we've got like a Brexit party that's called, you got to put this into Google, they call themselves Sodom Action.
What?
Type Sodom Action into Google. That's like the main campaign group. You know, you get like those NGO kind of like behind the scene groups that
Yeah, yeah.
finance the protesters. So if it's like the Women's March or whatever march it is, they're paid by Sodom Action.
Oh, yeah, yeah, but it's spelled SODEM. Sodom. That's funny. What the hell?
We've only got like 27 days left now till
Till
deadline. Brexit deadline now.
what do you mean?
It's insane. Well, we keep extending the deadline, don't we, to like make a decision on Brexit, because we haven't made a decision.
Which is
Well,
ridiculous.
we have,
I
but
mean,
it's
yeah, I
not
was gonna
happening.
say I thought the referendum was the decision,
That was like nearly 3 years ago.
right?
So, yeah, it's all going to happen the last day of the month. I don't think we've got many options. I think we've got like 3 options. We've got extend it till like 2022 or something, which I don't think people will be happy about that. I think there'll be problems. The other option is to just stay in Europe and just go fuck this, just stay in Europe. And the other option is Theresa May's deal, which is basically stay in Europe.
You know what that reminded me of that I saw that's pretty
It's a
funny.
disaster.
Although this is kind of old news. When Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez put out that Green New Deal, Mitch McConnell, who's a Republican Speaker of the House, he wanted to bring it to a vote. Like he was like, all right, let's bring the resolution to a vote and like let's vote on it
Yeah,
instead of you
that's
guys just saying it's just some plan and we're gonna build off of it. Let's vote on this plan. And the people on AOC's like side and on her team and everything said that the Republicans offering to put the bill to a vote and see if it would pass was them trying to sabotage it. How funny is that? Like, what does that say about your plan if when the other side of the aisle is like, oh, you got a plan? All right, let's vote on it. And you're like, no, no, don't vote on my plan. Like, that's so ridiculous. I mean, that.
apparently that Spring Breaker. She was selected up. They had to narrow it down to that Spring Breaker. They went for 110,000 candidates.
Well, what do you mean? What Spring Breaker?
The one you're talking about. I don't know her
AOC?
name. The one I don't know her name. Spring Breaker. He did that green bill.
Hey, everybody. Jamie Starr. What hold on, I just got a comment on my video about Styx. What I think you're missing, friend, is that Styx views the occult through a lens of rationality. He is still a liberal at heart, and he approaches spiritual systems as a skeptic analyst would, even though he calls himself pagan. But I agree with you that he is irresponsible in his conclusions. That could be true.
And he needs to wear a shirt.
I mean,
what sort of magic is that he's up to?
I mean, I just want it's.
Why is he wearing a dressing gown?
Well, the thing I think is weird
No,
about
seriously, why?
The thing I think is weird about someone commenting that, though, is like, again, this guy, like, he republishes occult books, he dresses the part, he's got occult symbolism around him, like, but he looks at it like a skeptic, rational. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be so weird. It would be like someone wearing a rosary, having a crucifix on their wall, you know, and surrounding themselves in religious iconography, but then being like, oh yeah, you know, I don't believe it. I'm, you know, pragmatic about it, whatever, whatever. Like, I mean, this guy could be completely right. Like, he could just sort of think it's fascinating and not really delve into it and not practice it, but I don't know. It is, I mean, at least the guy says my conclusion is right, which I definitely think it is, but I don't know. I think, and that's the problem, though, is like I said, I think Styx does a good job of gatekeeping for the occult rather than, you know, anything. Like, you would think if there was, like, occult matters going, you know, that guy probably is right, because I've never seen Styx do any videos like how you see people do, you know, decoding occult symbolism on TV shows or anything like that. Now, speaking of TV shows, occult symbolism and everything, did you see Macaulay Culkin tweeting about the Oscars?
By eating babies?
Saying the one guy ate babies, and the thing about, you know, if Bohemian Rhapsody wins best movie, it won't be the first time that a you know, rapist or whatever has been the best director.
Well, that's the thing with Freddie Mercury as well. Freddie Mercury is known to like underage boys.
Yeah,
kind of knew it. So that's how he got. That's one of the things about how he got AIDS.
Well, and I'll tell you, I saw Bohemian Rhapsody in theater. I went with Brett and a handful of other people, and I thought it was insane how in that movie you never even really saw like Freddie Mercury kiss anyone. Like, all you saw was him like at a gas station on the phone, and some guy goes into like the bathroom at a truck stop, and he's giving him like a longing stare, and then goes into the bathroom himself. Like, it's kind of
that's how he got AIDS. Right?
Yeah, it's implied. Yeah, right. You get AIDS from staring at people. Like, yeah, it's implied in the subtext of it, but it's like you never saw any sort of romantic encounters or anything like that, and it was just like really ridiculous. I mean, it whitewashed the whole story of him.
Yeah, I can't be fucked watching that shit.
Yeah.
Glad I missed it. I did watch Jacob's Ladder for the first time.
I haven't seen that.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
I actually,
you'd seen that.
You know what I've been meaning to watch again since I saw Owen Benjamin talk about it is
Grin Breakers
300.
I've never seen it.
Because he's saying how he's like, you know, I'm surprised Hollywood allowed this to be made because, you know, the bad guy is essentially like gender neutral, like he's very feminine and this and that, and he's like, and the men are very like truth driven and standing up for what's right, and he's like, he's saying how he honestly doesn't understand how Hollywood allowed it to be made, and he was like, and he shows a joke Sarah Silverman made, being like, on a scale from 1 to 10, it's something like, you know, the gayness level, 300 is the gayness level of this movie on a scale from 1 to 10 or something like that. And Owen Benjamin is like, there's nothing gay about the movie except if you just think the men wearing those outfits, like not wearing shirts, if that's gay, then if that's your standard, okay. But he's like, there's nothing in it. He said, in fact, it's very opposite of what you would expect to be coming out of Hollywood.
Is it worth watching? It's like there's some films to watch.
I haven't seen it, so I'm gonna. I'm trying to think if there's anything else interesting I've seen. I saw Alita: Battle Angel in theaters last week. That was pretty good.
Alita?
Yeah. It's like a movie about a robot girl who, it's like there's this floating city above where all the elite live, and then everyone, all the peasants are on the ground level and stuff like that.
The way it should be.
Basically. The way it is. I have to say, one of the things that's been on my mind lately, when I walked into work yesterday, my boss was in there talking to a customer, and the customer and her are talking about, the pharmaceutical companies and how they're selling people poison, basically, and they're like, you hear these ads, and it's like, could cause death, and this, and that. So they're talking about how the government fails to protect us in regards to food, in regards to medicine, and all this other stuff. But then this woman goes on about climate change. And she's like, these people say they're concerned about the climate, but, if they're waiting for the corporations to do something and this, and that. And I'm like, immediately, I'm like, I just walked in the door. Don't say anything. Because I was raised on environmentalist propaganda, but I realize it's propaganda. I'm very earth conscious. I recycle things. I've pointed out before, my bed's made out of recycled pallets. I have a guitar stand.
Even my parents get it's a scam.
I have a guitar stand built out of pallets and everything. But the thing is corporations are the ones pushing climate change. They even think of it on this level. Like, there is no grassroots climate change movement. Like, the climate change, it's branding, basically.
What would the climate be if humans had never been about?
And that's the question no one has the answer to. And that's the base that...
What do you mean they don't have the answer?
Tucker Carlson did an interview where he tried asking that question, which you would think would be one of the basic questions. You would need to know that to base everything else off of. And there's no answer for it. It's ridiculous.
There was a report in, I think it's the New York Post or something, Washington Post, saying that conspiracy theorists are more likely to be criminals. Do you see that?
No. But anyway, to finish up my point about this woman then goes and she says, they're waiting for the corporations to do something, but it's about what we can do ourselves. And, one of the biggest contributors are cows. Paul, what is wrong with people?
What's wrong with you, Jamie?
Do they not realize this is cartoonish? I don't know how people, you can convince smart people that the plight of the environment rests on cow farts.
Because it's going to go along with veganism. Veganism's the same thing. You can't be a vegan you can't do it without being a world government. Because you won't be able to do it. You won't be able to sustain it, and then they'll produce fake meat.
Well, but I just think it's like
micro lab meat.
You think about the world that these people are ushering in, and it's like, okay, so you're going to have the politicians and the royalty and all of that. They're going to be eating steak and lobster while we're here fed soy and just turning into weak, infertile nonsense. I don't know how people say this and it isn't just laughed at. That should have been my response. If this one was like, yeah, but it's the environment and cow farts, I should have just been like, you think cow farts are the environmental problem? It's like out of idiocracy. It's like feed the plants Brondo. Cow farts are the environment. It's so stupid. And the other question, this is going to be my question to anyone who brings up environmentalism. If they're saying, well, climate change, we need to protect the environment, environmental emissions, whatever. And I'm just going to be like, so when during all of this are we going to go to war with China and India? And they're going to be like, what? And I'd be like, well, we need to invade and take over China and India because 85% of CO2 emissions come from them. And they're not
just because they're sneaky.
They're not concerned about how much they put out. They have no limits on it, no, barely any regulations. So are you willing to invade China and India? Are we going to go to war over this? I mean, this idea that if everyone just turned vegan, the environment would be all right, fucking retarded. Like,
there's this girl that serves me breakfast, and she's like really tattooed up, which is a bit like completely tattooed up, this goth girl, and she's like into veganism so much. And like, I was asking her, like, do you know how many animals get jacked when you've just got a vegan plant farm compared to like an animal farm? Like, the amount of animals that get jacked to produce vegetables is insane.
I do.
Like, anything that goes on that field, and just go, no way, it's going rabbits, snakes, deers, everything gets jacked that goes in that. What do you think a pesticide is?
Well, and that's the thing. I do very minor level. I can't even say farming. I do gardening.
I would have thought keeping a cow will feed more than if you want to keep animals alive, you're better off just killing a cow and keeping that ground.
I do gardening, and I'm telling you, I have rabbits, I have deer, I have all of these animals that I have to try to keep away from my plants. Like, so, and this is just me for my own eating. So, I mean, if you're in business to do this, the farmers are killing animals left and right to protect their precious lettuce. And as long as they don't know that, they don't give a shit. It's true. But again, I just don't like the idea of this.
And I was saying, the problem with veganism is you've got a really great argument that everyone would align with, and that's that the factory farming has to stop. Like, the way we get our food now, everyone is against.
Yeah.
And if you tried to clean that up, like, why don't you try and find some common ground instead of having this extreme that is just no killing of animals, full stop? Because that is not possible.
Yeah, it's not healthy. I mean, there are now a plethora of videos of people who just try experimenting. They do 30 days of eating vegan and 30 days worth of eating heavily meat-based diets, and all of them show, you can tell just from their physical appearances, the meat-based diets are better. Like, I'm telling you, I know vegans that they're in a fog. Like, they're not quick as far as cognitive ability, and that's because low cholesterol, it depletes. Like, I did a video when Roaming Millennial did a thing with vegan gains, and I broke this all down because the vegans, one of their arguments is, well, cholesterol is bad, heart disease, whatever. And it's like, yes, part of the vegan diet may be better in terms of your heart health, but it's negative for your brain health. So that's your trade-off, basically. If you eat too much meat, it could end up bad for your heart. If you eat too much vegetables, it ends up bad for your brain. I had a woman call me on the warm line at work the other day saying she was sick and she wasn't, she was trying to cure some medical issue by eating vegan, and she ended up with a thyroid problem. And that happens to vegans all the time because too much leafy greens is hard for your thyroid to process. When kale became like a trendy in vegetable thing and people were like, add kale to everything, people started having thyroid problems. And it's because they're deficient in iodine and then consuming too much of a vegetable that's very harsh on the thyroid. I mean, I see vegans all the time and they don't look healthy. They get bloated in weird ways and everything like that. Like, it's poor things. Like, I used to work with this girl. She was adorable, and she was a vegan, and I would see her, and, like, her weight would fluctuate. She'd get puffy and bloated, and, like, I'm just looking at her being like, you can't tell that this diet is fucking you up. And then she went away for a break and came back with a vegan tattoo, and I'm like, you just permanently marked your body with this lifestyle ideology that's killing you. Like,
yeah, I'm up for helping animals and not making them suffer with what we go through now. Why can't we find some common ground?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's no meat or nothing. It's like, you're letting the animals down.
And the other thing is like, I hate how these people don't even understand their own extremism. Like, they have a stance that is, it's all or nothing, and you know, they don't even want to admit that that's an extremist stance. Like, one of the things that would piss me off so much when I was in high school and playing in hardcore bands is you'd go to buy merch, and for whatever reason, you'd have some schmuck with a TV playing PETA videos where it's like, here's the band merch for the opening band, the band merch for the other band, the band merch for this, and then a PETA table. Why do I have to watch a video of pigs and cows being slaughtered? I know it's cruel. I know it sucks. I wish it would change, but I'm here for a concert. I'm not here to be propagandized against eating meat. And at that point, it had an effect on me because I used to eat vegetarian options. I didn't realize veggie burgers, if you just buy them, are worse for you than regular burgers. Like, half of this meat alternative stuff is all processed foods that are very bad for you. And I mean, when we were talking about weed earlier, Big Chris commented in the comments, we need to go back to indie small farms. That he was talking about weed, but the exact thing is true about our meat. You know, it's one of the reasons why that my day job at the cafe, I love that place so much because all we do is sell stuff from local farms, local meat, you know, antibiotic, hormone free. Like, I mean, it's like we do normal food, but we just serve very high quality versions of it. And it's like a job where you don't have to feel bad about what you're doing. Like,
They're going to force us onto that 3D printed lab meat. That's what they're going to do.
yeah. Well, did you ever see the video of there's a Japanese scientist who's basically taking shit, like sewage sludge, and synthesizing it into a protein to make like
Yeah, they do
fake
that in
meat out
Japan
of
and
it.
stuff.
Ridiculous. Goddamn ridiculous. Turning shit into steak? Like, come on. I don't care how it works scientifically, not appetizing whatsoever. I mean, it's basically like Soylent Green. We're turning our waste material into food.
Yeah, we won't have any food in England for much longer.
Why do you say
No,
that?
Brexit, man.
Oh.
Won't be any food left. Need to like stock up. Yeah, I think the next couple of maybe the next 28 days is going to get crazy in England. It's going to get really insane.
I did see that there was more banning of Tommy Robinson, I think.
Yeah, because do you know what Panorama is?
No.
It's like a BBC documentary crew that go around exposing people. So they're like the most trusted documentary maker. They always do the undercover stuff. And they just completely set Tommy up over and over and over again.
How so? Like, what'd they catch him
hang on.
doing?
Well, they used this group called Hope Not Hate. And they started, I can't remember what they did. Tommy had an upset. You know that woman he used to hang around with? He used to do the programs with him. Can you remember that lady?
No.
He used to have this lady, camera woman.
With the rebel? The British woman?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah. So they had a falling out. So the BBC contacted her and tried to make it sound like Tommy had tried to rape her or something. So she contacted Tommy even though they weren't talking, saying that the BBC have gone too far, and told him what happened. So they set up Panorama and started recording, like had secret cameras of the BBC trying to get all these people to like set him up. Colleen, you know that Colleen guy? They did the same to him and met him in a hotel, paid for all the drinks, and then apparently tried to rape him.
Wow.
And yeah, they started making all these threats if they don't help the documentary, what they're going to do. And yeah, just completely set Tommy up, and Tommy's got it all on camera. And then the people making the documentary made mild racist remarks. Kept making like mild racist remarks. So that didn't look good on the BBC. But yeah, they got caught trying to set Tommy up. So they can't deny it. And this big filmmaker who's been a giant in England for the BBC has had to just leave. So he's gone. But yeah, I don't know if many people in England will really know about it though, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I didn't know about it.
Yeah, but Tommy set them up really well. I'm surprised. It just shows how dumb the BBC are as well. Tommy Robinson, yeah.
Yeah, other than that, I saw the new Project Veritas thing where they're showing people being censored on Facebook. I mean, not surprising at all. Censorship thing is ridiculous. I mean, and you know what? I'll tell you, when Alex Jones.
Oh yeah, because then they banned Tom. Oh yeah, of course they banned Tommy on Facebook, and what else they ban him on? Facebook, Twitter, everything, like Instagram. So we can't really get his views about the documentary out properly.
Yeah.
It's just it was really over the top from the BBC. I'm not doing a good job explaining, but you know the kind of shady jobs that these people do on people.
Yeah.
And yeah, they got busted well and truly.
So, I mean, them banning him was essentially like a damage control move.
Yep.
Doesn't surprise me. See, I wonder though, Owen Benjamin said he wasn't going to get into it, but he was supposed to go over to England and do something with Tommy, but then
I'm glad he didn't.
Yeah, he came out and said he's not. And he said he didn't want to get into why because he.
Oh, I know. Yeah, Tommy didn't want him to come.
Why is that?
Because of the Jews.
That was my guess.
I don't think I was going to write to Owen to tell him not to go. But I don't know how I can explain it to Owen without him like going over the top. I was going to write to him going, "Hey, you're a great guy. I love your work. But you got to understand that there's more to Tommy Robinson and the situation in Britain. There's a lot more to it. And whilst I support a lot of what Tommy says and a lot of his work, he's going political now.
Yeah.
He always said he wouldn't go political, and no one knows what his politics are. And we've got a great driving force. We've got Sargon of Akkad. We've got Paul Joseph. We've got all these great names on the same page, and we've got this loose cannon, Tommy Robinson.
Yeah.
We don't need him on the field. We need him in the cheerleading squad, yeah. But I don't like where it's going. And you don't know anything about his Israeli background. Like, he's Israel all the way. Now, whether that's good or bad, I'm not going into. But he might not be about Britain.
Well, you know, it's funny because even
and when you look at, I don't want to go into it again, but the Fabian Society, Common Purpose, you know, Rules for Radicals,
Yeah.
is kind of that.
Well, and I was going to say, you know, it's even been a hot topic in America lately with that Congresswoman Ilhan Omar or whatever, the Muslim Congresswoman, because she's been talking about the Jewish influence on American politics. And, you know, of course, people on the right wing, like Ben Shapiro types, just immediately come out and are like, well, she's an anti-Semite, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but she has a point. Like, 80% of our foreign aid goes to Israel. Why do we have all of these politicians like Chuck Schumer who is, you know, against abortion in Israel but for it in America? Why is he for a wall over there and then the other? Red pill the West. I just red pilled you on sticks. Look at CPAC choosing. What's going on, Red Pill? Yeah, as far as the sticks thing, you know, someone left an interesting comment on that video saying that they think he just
yeah, but I don't think Owen would have got in either.
That was my thing too. I would be surprised if they let Owen Benjamin into the country. If they have Lawrence Southern and people like that banned, I would definitely think they would keep Owen out. But
yeah, but Tommy's documentary is actually worth watching. It was pretty good.
I haven't seen it. I'll have to check that out. Hey, thanks for the subscription, Red Pill. And yeah, as far as the stuff on Styx, you know, Styx he's on point with some of his political breakdowns, but when it comes to the occult, there's something shady going on there. I don't know what it is.
Someone asked about Tommy and Israel. All you got to do, if you want to figure it out, the riddle, is Tommy. If you don't live in England, we had this big thing called the EDL, the English Defence League, which was, it's what it is. It's football clubs defending England, and Tommy was head of it. So he wasn't just in it; he was head of it. If you type in EDL, obviously in England they're not going to allow massive football gangs, because that's the first time football gangs actually united ever on something. So you got all these football gangs that usually beat the shit out of each other every weekend. Instead, they were like, "Now let's defend England." So that was real. That would have been shut down so quickly, because football firms are meant to be like, the terrorist network of England.
Yeah.
So Tommy was like head of it, and if you check out the EDL, it's not a secret that is Israeli intelligence, and Tommy was head of it. So I can't remember the names of the people that were financing the EDL, but they were all out of Jewish intelligence.
We have an old podcast on it where we had gone through it.
And Tommy admits it. That's the thing. It's not a secret. There's loads of videos of Tommy admitting that. Like loads of people go up to Tommy going, "Are you Israel?" And he's always like, "Yeah, Israel first, of course." Yeah.
Well, and again, I don't. I'm very much in the same mindset as like Vox Day and Owen Benjamin. Where I don't have.
Hang on, before I forget, who was the guy that Jack Buckby got mixed up with? Nick Griffin, wasn't it? And that's why you can't travel anywhere, because Nick Griffin was EDL, and he started calling Tommy some bad stuff, even though Nick Griffin went down as a world-renowned racist. I don't know if that's true, because I haven't looked into Nick Griffin since 2003, and I wasn't really that politically awake in 2003, so maybe they'll just call him a racist for the hell of calling him a racist.
I don't know.
But he hates Tommy Robinson.
As far as the questions in the chat, my thoughts.
Check out the EDL. Tommy Robinson.
My thoughts on Q and the idea that Alex Jones is Mossad.
Q's a fantasy.
Well, Q,
The Pied Piper.
I agree with what Vox Day says, where Q is good for boosting morale. But as far as what he actually says, I mean, there was a point in time where QAnon was saying every other week that indictments on Hillary and everyone else were coming, and they never came. And then there was the whole thing where there's videos. Jack Posobiec, actually, and Ali Alexander blew the lid on the Q thing, where basically, I think it was insiders at first, and then it got taken over, and then it became people who were functioning under the QAnon name and just using it as, money and stuff to generate income for themselves. And that's why it's, it's a good morale booster. You can't take what they say as fact. It's the thing where the easiest way to get someone to believe a lie is to have it packaged with truth. It's like feeding a pill to a dog. If you've ever had to give a dog medicine, you put the medicine in like a chunk of peanut butter or something so that it takes the whole thing whole and doesn't realize that there's that capsule of something else in there. I don't know what... Here's the thing. It's one of these things where it's like by their deeds you will know them. Alex Jones wanting a wall for America, wanting, the Constitution and things like that. How does that benefit Israel? It's the same thing with the Trump and Russia collusion thing. You look at his actions and say, how do these actions benefit Russia? And most of them don't. Or, I mean, it's, and I think Alex Jones has even said, if the Russians want America to enforce their borders and, crack down on opiate abuse and this and that, then Russian collusion is fine by me. Like, it all depends on what they're asking for and things like that. Alex Jones has always been very anti-war, so that's where I would question the idea that he's Israeli intelligence, because a lot of people think our invasions in the Middle East, Afghanistan, Iraq, and all that stuff, all that nation building in the Middle East, people have thought that we've been doing that at the behest of Israel. Alex Jones has always been staunchly opposed to all of that. So I don't know, if there was someone who you could say it is Israeli intelligence based on that. I mean, you'd look at like a Ben Shapiro, but I think Ben Shapiro, that's just his stance on things. I don't think he needs someone from Mossad telling him to say these things. I think him just being raised Jewish the way he was is the way he functions with Israel first, America second. And that's the problem, like I was saying with Schumer. Chuck Schumer, pro-abortion up until birth for America, doesn't want abortion in Israel, though. Staunchly against a wall for America, but he's fine with Israel having a wall. It's the double standards on those things. But, I mean, the whole Q thing, I used to look at it before, and then when it got messy, and there was, the whole thing about, is the Q now the same Q it was, and, who is it? And like I said, the indictments thing, that never came to pass. Just check out Jack Posobiec's videos on it, and Ali Alexander. They both did a good job breaking that down. But it is a good morale booster, and we do need to keep morale high, especially because, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like the 2020 election season has already started. The moment the midterms ended, the Democrats have been in campaign mode. And I think it's a good thing for us, because I think they're going to burn themselves out doing this. They're just going to tear themselves apart. It's already happening. As far as, I saw a thing where people in the Congress, AOC, she came out when she was criticized over the Green New Deal. She made that one quote where she was like, I don't see anyone else trying, so, they can criticize my attempt all they want, but I'm the one actually trying to make things happen. I'm the boss. And it's like, that's not the mindset of a civil servant. Like, you are here to work for the people. You're not the boss of the people. But that's the Democrat mindset on these things. They're not here to represent Americans. They're here to whip Americans into shape. They're trying to build this utopia, and the Democrats are trying to out her. They're trying to get her out of office. I had seen a headline about that yesterday, because she's going to tear the party apart. I think it's going to be interesting going into the elections, to say the least. But the fact that they're already starting their campaigning, like I heard this week Joe Biden's starting to run. And then you got that other guy, who is it? Schultz, the Starbucks guy, running as an independent. I mean, he's another one where it's like, however, Sticks is called that. Yeah, Sticks is on point more often than not when it comes to politics. I mean, he's definitely very intelligent, definitely breaks things down good. I mean, Lionel has him on. Lionel is one of my favorites. And, I mean, I have my own reasons to respect Sticks, but I 9 times out of 10, I respect someone if Lionel respects them, because Lionel is just, he's amazing to watch. But, like I said, when it comes to the occult, I get very wary with him. Like, I don't know what's going on there, because he seems like he would be the expert on things, but he's always very dismissive of things concerning it.
You seen Epstein's got to testify
I did hear
behind closed
something about
doors?
it.
Yeah, and Alan Dershowitz has blocked it. Alan Dershowitz, isn't he CIA? Isn't he MK Ultra?
The
That's
law,
Alan Dershowitz who signed off MK Ultra, wasn't it?
the lawyer? I don't know.
I thought Alan Dershowitz was CIA,
He,
MK Ultra.
I don't think
And
so. I
he's
mean,
the
I
thing
know
is,
he's a
Alan
lawyer.
Dershowitz, I'm pretty sure, is on the Epstein flight logs too. Pretty sure he is. And remember when the Butler released the phone book? I'm sure Alan Dershowitz was in there too. I'm sure Alan Dershowitz comes up in Minds of Men quite a lot, for signing most of MK Ultra off. I could be wrong.
I don't know. I think it could be someone else, because looking him up, there's not anything. I mean, granted, this is just front page on Bing, but I'm not seeing anything. He's a lawyer. He's not a politician. So I don't
Is
know.
he not?
I don't know what his tie-in would be. Um, there is an interesting video though going around about the four families that own California. And that let's see.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same guy.
Let's see. High school.
BBC Radio have dropped Michael Jackson.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Because of that
Yeah.
documentary?
Yeah, everyone's gunning for Michael now. There's an article today which is 10 undeniable facts about Michael Jackson's sexual abuse allegations. Number one. Let's go. Skip all the bollocks. Number one. There is no dispute that Michael slept with this kid 30 nights in a row. That was Geordie Chandler. 30 nights in a row. Okay.
Now,
How reliable Chandler is. Next one, yeah, I'm not going to, there's 10 of them, so you're going to get pissed quick. So far, 5 boys Michael Jackson shared bed with have accused him. Geordie Chandler, okay. Jason French, Gavin Alviso, he's not very reliable. Wade Robson, I know who that is, that's not very reliable. And Jimmy Safechuck, I'm not sure who that is. Jackson had the same nickname for Chandler as Alviso, Rubber. Okay. Jackson paid a lawsuit to shut him up.
one of the things I was going to say, I don't see anything about Dershowitz here in MK Ultra, nor can I can't think of any way like what he would have to offer that. But he has worked on law cases like for Mike Tyson, O.J. Simpson. One of the interesting things that it had in here,
What about Get My Bay?
huh? What would
Did he ever defend?
No. I think you're thinking of someone else.
Maybe.
But I mean,
Quite possible.
but I mean, there are things like it says in May 2018, it was reported that Dershowitz has joined Harvey Weinstein's legal team as a consultant. Jeffrey Epstein, O.J. Simpson. There's a lot of shady people, and even here it says, in 1976, Dershowitz handled successful appeal of Harry Rems, who had been convicted of distribution of obscenity resulting from his acting in the pornographic movie Deep Throat. In public debates, Dershowitz commonly argues against censorship of pornography on First Amendment grounds and maintains that consumption of pornography is not harmful. Now, if you know anything about the stuff Owen Benjamin talks about with the Jews, this is one of the things he talks about, where he says, the Jews are very anti-debauchery, degeneracy for them, but promote it for everyone else, basically. And you see Dershowitz being one of these figures, and then defending people like Weinstein and Epstein, and you know, stuff like that. So I mean, there is shadiness surrounding him, and the idea of a you know, Jewish in-group actions and stuff like that, and you know, but I don't see anything that would link him into psychology or mind control stuff in any way.
I thought he signed a lot of it off.
He's sign off how? He has no authority. You got to be thinking of someone else. This guy doesn't have any political power. He's just a lawyer, but a very high profile one. Just read E. Michael Jones regarding libido dominati. I'll have to check that out. Let's see. If I could type like a normal human. I gotta cut.
There's another headline in today. I can't read it because I'm in the UK. But it says pathologist accused of improperly harvesting children's organs. That's got to be worth checking out.
Unlike the standard version of the sexual revolution, libido dominati shows how sexual liberation was from its inception a form of control. Those who wished to liberate man from the moral order needed to impose social controls as soon as they succeeded, because liberated libido led to inevitable anarchy. Aldous Huxley wrote in his preface to the 1946 edition of Brave New World that as political and economic freedom diminishes, sexual freedom tends to compensatingly increase. This book is about to conserve that statement. It explains how the rhetoric of sexual freedom was used to engineer a system of covert political and social control. Over the course of a 200-year span covered by this book, the development of technologies of communication, reproduction, and psychic control, including psychotherapy, behaviorism, advertising, sensitivity training, pornography, and plain old blackmail, allowed the Enlightenment and its heirs to turn Augustine's insight on its head and create masters out of men's vices. I will definitely have to check that out. Thank you, Arizona Junior, for sending this my way. $50 for the hardcover. Oh, that's the Jewish Revolutionary Spirit. That's another book by the same guy. Add that to my list. It's just someone in the chat sent me towards a wow, Jesus Christ, hardcover copy of this is $180. I'm gonna have to see if I can find a PDF. You know, it's so amazing how books like you'd really think that that there would be you can listen to them on YouTube. All right, I'll have to check that out. I mean, because you'd really think some of these things would just be like a flat rate. You know, like books, it would just be a price per page. Link, where is it? Archive.org, no longer available. Yeah, I'm gonna have to, oh, there we go. This might be it. Audiobook, here we go. Nice.
I've got the PDF if you want it.
Yeah, if you could send it to me. Although I think I'm looking at it, so I'll tell you, this archive.org site is one of the greatest sites ever. Download MP3. Nice. I'm gonna have to listen to this.
What's it about?
It's about the sexual revolution and basically saying how it was used to control people. You know, like porn and stuff like that, like how they, it claimed to liberate, but it actually was a method of controlling people. And it says the same author did a book on what was it? I just saw it in Amazon. Some book about the Jews. The Revolutionary Spirit. I've heard of that book before too. I should probably see if I can find a copy of that. Yeah, the Jewish Revolutionary Spirit and its impact on world history. Barren Metal, A History of Capitalism as the Conflict Between Labor and Usury. This guy seems to, That's so funny. Look at this book, Whiteness, The Original Sin, by Jim Goad. The revolutionary spirit is powerful. Yeah, I'm sure it is. I forget who I heard talking about it, but I know I've heard of that book recently. It might have even been referenced on a Owen Benjamin podcast.
Cool, yeah, some cool stuff there. I might check that out. Yeah, I had recognised the names. I remember I checked out the other day from you and Benjamin. I must have clicked a shitty video, so I only watched it for 3 minutes and turned it off, but check it out again.
You don't have to be Jewish to be a proxy. No, not at all. I mean, there's... if only it was that easy. That's...
I found out I'm a lot more Jewish than what I first thought.
I mean, and that's...
I've spoken to my mum.
Uh-huh.
I'm a lot more Jewish than I thought. Now, I'd say I'm probably about 55% reptilian.
Well, you know what the thing is, and I think Owen makes...
Actually, probably a bit more than that.
I think Owen Benjamin makes a great point when he was talking about, like, Mark Zuckerberg. I don't think it's just, like, the Jewish thing, like, and I kind of joke about it when I saw one of my exes... One of my exes, she lives over in England now, but her brother, I guess, it seems like he goes to the college right around me, and he does one of these, like, delivery services, like DoorDash or something. So occasionally he's in my restaurant picking up orders, and I dated this girl over 10 years ago, and this guy is, I probably knew him when he was under 10 years old. Now he's probably close to 20, but he's like the same exact size. Like, he's like the little brother that stayed little. Like, and, Owen was showing the other day the pictures of Mark Zuckerberg at Congress sitting on a booster seat. Like,
I can relate to that.
Huh?
I can relate to that. I need a booster seat, I reckon. It's a good idea. You might get me yourself.
I mean, I think that's really like a part of it where it's like some of it, it's not just...
I'd say I'm two Joe Rogans.
You're two Joe Rogan. I mean, I think it's like almost like an inferiority complex that from being short to, the history of persecution type thing. That then sort of unleashes like a evil, scheming sort of mindset.
Well, I didn't
in some
come
of
from
these
the best
people.
gene pool, if I'm honest.
No, well, why would you say that?
Well, shall I send you a picture of my parents? Let's have a look at my dad. Let's look at the gene pool I've come from. Today, let's just look at what I'm working with. And then you'll see why I look like a little goblin troll.
Well,
My dad has an orange for a head.
well, I mean, you know,
Perfectly round.
physical
Fucking orange.
physical appearance is only part of the genetics. And
He's got a high IQ though. I reckon my dad's probably, I reckon not now, but in his prime. 160, 170, maybe.
Well, and you know that again, that's kind of part of what I'm saying. Like, and I'm not saying with like you specifically, but think of it like this. All right, let's say you know you're short, you're not really.
When it comes to social skills, not so high, if I'm honest.
But I'm saying with like other people in general, say you're short, you're.
I'm short.
And
are
underweight.
You? And yeah. I'm tiny. I'd say I'm exactly 5'8".
5'8" isn't short.
It's on the limit.
I mean, I'm only.
That's like right on the limit.
I think 5'8" is like average.
It's on the limit. And I'm only like just like what? I might be coming up to 9 stone.
I don't even know. That's that weird British weight. Who weighs things?
Yeah,
in
it's
stones?
not much. It's like I'd say 55 pounds and that's on a good day.
Okay, well, if you want to make this about yourself, Paul, you can.
I'm not 55 pounds. 55. I've done that wrong.
But either way, let's just say you're someone like Mark Zuckerberg, where you're not the most good-looking guy. I'm
not the most good-looking. I'm pretty bad.
Listen,
Zuckerberg's got more going on than me, I reckon. Yeah, I'm 126 pounds on a good day.
What was that?
126. Not much.
I don't know. I mean, that's that's basically before I started working out all the time and put on weight. That's what I was around.
I do work well.
But it's like, say you're one of these people where it's
I work out reasons why I shouldn't go to the gym.
But I'm saying, like, you know, if you're like a Mark Zuckerberg, you need a booster seat, you're not the most attractive guy and all this other stuff, but you're super intelligent, like, you could very easily see that going in a harmful direction towards others out of a inferiority complex. And it's like, I think that's just what sort of happens. You know, your Jews are given this sort of chip on their shoulder, the same way black people are. And it's, and this would be the easiest way to equate it. And I'm not saying in any which way that there's a genetic predisposition to these things. I'm sort of saying it's more of a cultural thing. But let's say, you know, you're black people where the IQ isn't as high as Jews.
No, I know it sounds bragging. Like I come from a Jewish family. The IQ is pretty high, at least.
But I'm saying with that, like, inferiority complex that's given to, like, both Jews and blacks, you know, the difference between the average IQs in both, you can easily see how it's like Jews end up more towards the scheming, manipulative, you know, planning aspect. And then with blacks, you know, it could be equated to the violent and the crime rate and everything like that. But I think a lot of it stems from the lashing out over the inferiority aspect, where it's like that chip on the shoulder thing pushes people to, you know, it's like with blacks being told you're never going to go anywhere. You either got to be a rapper or a basketball player. And it's like, if you're told the whole world's against you and the quickest, easiest way to make a buck is to sell crack, why not? Might as well. But yeah, so, I don't know. I think that's pretty much all I had planned on covering today. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Anyone in the chat have any other topics they want us to get into?
I've been following Leo quite a bit. Got to chat to him as well. He wrote me an email.
Uh-huh.
I called him a cunt for stitching me up. No, he's alright. Yeah, he actually apologised for not being up in London. Like, he went for his phone going, oh, did you call me from Southampton? He was like, oh, sorry, I missed your call. And out next time, whatever. It's pretty cool, I guess.
Wasn't Hitler a Rothschild? You know,
I think so.
I've heard people question that. I know he was influenced and funded by them. Was he actually? You know, there's a. You know, actually, I saw a thing with a 4chan posting. It was in the same video I saw about the Macaulay Culkins tweeting about the Oscars, where there was a Hollywood insider, gaffer, you know, person who does the lighting and all the on-set stuff, was talking about the evil in Hollywood. And one of the things he was saying was you got to look for the people that were either born into the system or adopted in. And for born in, he used the examples of Kate Hudson and Miley Cyrus. Adopted in, he pointed to Jim Carrey. You can say the same thing about politics, though, where you have people like George Bush, you know, the junior, born into the system. Adopted in, Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, when he won the presidency, was crying, saying, you know, it was only his mother and... was it Rockefeller? I think David Rockefeller who believed in him. And he was like adopted by the Rockefellers. So with Hitler, it could very well be one of those things. See, the thing that would lead me to pause on just saying Hitler being a Rothschild was him fighting in World War One, because I just have a hard time believing that a Rothschild would fight in a war.
What a bastard Rothschild, though.
Yeah, now that's true. But then you got to wonder, like, the likeliness of a bastard child then basically being brought back into the family as they rise to politics.
There, if you want one. I think MI5 are at least considering a royal backdoor exit. I think they're at least looking at it.
As far as, like, what do you mean?
Because I think if Brexit falls apart and we don't have a two-party system, there might be some talk about perhaps it's the end of the royal family too.
That's interesting.
Its relevance might not be quite what it was. And also, if the Queen pops it, because she's quite old now, anyone really going to be interested in having Charles as king? Not really. Is anyone really that up for having Prince William do it? It's like, no, and Harry's going to go off to America or whatever. I can't see him anywhere.
Well, Charles is, he can't become king. There was that whole thing with him coming out and saying the thing about the religions, where he said that, you know, he was asked something about religions and said that, you know, he thinks they all contain the same relative truth or something like that. And because the British royal family is supposed to represent some Catholicism or some Church of Christianity, like, I forget which denomination, but because there's...
Anglican.
Huh?
Anglican.
I can't hear you. Because they're supposed to be the ones representing that, it disqualifies him from holding the throne. And it's interesting, though, because it's like, people had done videos thinking that there was a reason for it, because it's like, if there's one thing that you're like, you know, not supposed to do that could disqualify you from holding the throne, and you go and do that one thing, like, you gotta wonder if it's done intentionally.
It's in Google News, like, Queen to evacuate. And to me it makes a lot of sense, because a lot of things are going to be asked about, well, now we're not part of the European Union, how much of a sovereign state are we going to be, and is that going to be including not being a monarchy anymore? So you've got secret files to reveal plans to evacuate the Queen before the Soviet, I mean, that's 2004, but you've got Brexit ones now. Queens would be evacuated if Brexit turns ugly. Queens Brexit evacuation plan. Be nice to see her go, that old bat.
Yeah. I mean, she's
Or
got.
maybe just have a much smaller role, like just keep her for tourism.
Well,
Strip how much money she eats
yeah.
up.
I mean, that's the thing that always bothers me is the people who are so dismissive of her power and influence. Where I mean, they think that's what she is. They think she's just there as a tourist attraction. And it's like she is far, far more, as far as money and influence. I mean,
Well,
still,
she's always had the two-party system. If another party comes in, you don't have that bond necessarily anymore. If Nigel Farage became Prime Minister or Tommy Robinson, I mean, they don't have any ties to that. Riots after a no-deal Brexit. Save and evacuate the Queen. But yeah, they must have some kind of backdoor plan for her. Things could get ugly at the end of this month because people are pissed in England now. They're like, they've woken up that we have no control over our country, like none, no say over anything. Because people are still pissed. Like we had giant marches over the Iraq War, like massive ones, going like fuck this in like 2002, and like that made no difference. And now this. And England's like a tiny little place, man. Like a couple of million people marching is like a big deal. We want our Brexit, Jamie.
yeah. I mean, you guys voted on it. It should happen, and like you said, that would definitely wake people up as to how little control they have over things.
I'll tell you one thing about Hitler. He only had one bull,
I've heard that before.
and the other's at the Royal Albert Hall. There you go. Hitler. He only had one bull, yabba. He's at the Albert Hall. His mother was his lover. You not heard that song before?
No.
You never heard Hitler had one bull?
No?
Hitler, he only had one bull, yabba. He's at the Albert Hall. His mother.
Trying to find all these books that are probably going to get me put on a watch list now.
Yeah, my mum wasn't happy. I've been sending her PDF books because she was telling me how Jewish I actually am.
Uh-huh.
So my dad is 100% Jew, 100% reptilian, but nowadays is a complete atheist. Yeah, it always has been. Judaism didn't do my dad many favours, but my mum adopted Judaism as they got married. She said she did the whole thing.
You know,
and she got accepted.
the girl I was telling you I dated, it was similar with her parents, where her dad's 100% Jewish, and then the mom converted.
So what does that make me? Am I full reptilian or just?
I don't know.
But I mean, really, I guess I'm a powerful gay black woman. You seen that? You saw the Olympics, didn't you?
No.
The Olympics allowing transgender.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, man.
I
You not
did.
seen that?
No, but I did hear that there was an uproar about, transgenders in sports recently. I didn't know it was concerning the Olympics allowing it. That's so ridiculous. But all right, well, let's wrap things up. I gotta get some stuff done around the house.
Yeah, I worry for London this month. It's only 27 days and then we're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Keep an eye
It's
on it.
just going to extend it.
Yeah, I don't see them letting it happen. That's definitely for sure. But all right, man. We'll catch up later in the week.
Cheers, man.
All right,
Bye.
take care.
That's it.